Hello everyone, I'm Eternal Flame here, and welcome to a video discussing Yuji's new power-up and what this new monster's form likely means for Yuji, considering how both of Yuji's hands look, and how I think this is the key for Yuji to get stronger in Yuji's brand new power-up. Now, before we even get into this video, be sure to like and subscribe, like anime content like this. We have plenty more on the channel, and let's get straight into this. Now, it should be noted, this is going to include spoilers for chapter 238, so if you do not want those spoilers, then you should probably leave, but this ain't gonna talk too much about it, so yeah, stay at your own pace if you want to. It's up to you. Alright, that should be enough time to get the people who don't want spoilers out of here. So, in the most recent chapter, Yuji ends up hopping down into the battle after the battle with Kashimo and Sukuna has been brought to an end with Higuruma, and in the panel where we see Yuji hop down, both of his hands appear to be monstrous almost very claw-like and similar to another person. That person being Sukuna, and that has led to a lot of people wondering if Yuji has awoken Sukuna's curse technique, and I currently think he has as well. But furthermore, I'm here to talk about how I think it happened and why I think it's happening now. Now, I currently do actually have two theories on why it's happening as of right now, and this is something I really want to talk about because this is very interesting, at least to me. Now, my first theory is that Yuji doesn't know that he has entered into this form yet, because there's something that's very interesting that happened this chapter. Yuji's hands only appeared to turn this monstrous after Sukuna had transformed. Because if we look back in chapter 234, the most recent chapter where we ever see Yuji's hands do not have this monstrous-like appearance. It is only after Sukuna has transformed that they have this monster-like appearance. So my theory is the cursed energy that used to belong to Sukuna that now exists within Yuji is almost resonating with Sukuna's cursed energy and Sukuna's soul as a whole. As a result of that, upon Sukuna transforming, it is beginning to transform Yuji Itadori's body in order to match Sukuna's form, basically creating Yuji and turning him into a second Sukuna in the process. And only after Sukuna transformed did Yuji actually notice, and he doesn't care at the moment, and he is preparing to fight him. However, this theory just doesn't sit right with me, because it implies that Yuji has nothing to do with it and it's a complete accident, and I think that is wrong. I think this is very much intentional of Yuji's doing, and I'm going to get into what my actual theory is for why Yuji's arm seems to be so monstrous and what Yuji is truly trying to do. What I believe Yuji is trying to do is forcefully change the shape of his soul in order to mimic Sukuna's body. After all, the way Sukuna changed back into his original form was by changing the shape of his own soul and returning to that. And what I think Yuji is trying to do is recreate that through his own body and turn his own body into a perfect vessel of Jujutsu like how Sukuna's is, through using Sukuna's cursed energy as a medium and basis of the copy in order to design it and acclimate it to his own body. Now, this theory centers around two extremely important things. One thing being the soul book that Choso ended up giving to Yuji way earlier in the past, right before the Gojo vs Sukuna battle actually began and Gojo was freed. But more importantly, a character who I believe with each and every single passing chapter is becoming more and more important, and that character is the one who introduced all the concepts about the soul to us to begin with, Mahito, the embodiment of humanity's fear of each other. In Mahito's battle against Yuji, he showed off an extremely interesting concept, and I think that's going to be the basis for this entire theory, which Mahito showed off the concept of changing the shape of his soul in order to make it more powerful and change its stats around in order to make it stronger and better for fighting. This is especially shown in the— oh god, I have to read that name again. Alright, let's read this name out. Why did you make this name so long, Gege? The instant spirit body of distorted killing form, where in that form he was able to basically no-sell all of Yuji's hits other than the Black Flash, as well as get a power amp to himself as well. Sure, he didn't get a speed amp, but he still got a power amp and a durability amp, showing off the ability to change your soul and make yourself more powerful in the process. Also proving one of Mahito's theories early on, which is the soul is the body and the body is the soul, and that the body will follow along with any of the soul's changes towards itself. And interestingly enough, at least to me, while Yuji's arms do seem similar to Sukuna, there also seems to be a bit of Mahito and his distorted killing form mixed into the form as well, which I find extremely interesting. Furthermore, Yuji also has access to all of the research that Yuki did on the soul, and Yuki had done quite a bit of research on it, considering she could make a literal entire book on the soul. We don't know how full that book is, but still. And considering Yuji is one of the few characters that have a very, very good understanding of the soul, this book might have helped him further his understanding of the soul even more and allow him to change the shape of the soul to mimic Sukuna's body. Or just create an entirely new, better body than what Yuji currently has in order to have a better shot and a better chance against Sukuna in this upcoming fight. However, I do think it's much more likely that he is currently trying to mimic Sukuna's body. It might also give Yuji the advantage that Sukuna's attacks would be even less effective on him, because now it is Sukuna's body attacking Sukuna's own body alongside Yuji being soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy, which makes attacks on you less effective, because as Gojo had revealed recently, when he used the massive hollow purple nuke, that when you are attacked by cursed energy attacks that are of your own cursed energy, you are much more resistant to them. So whether this is an accident because Sukuna transformed, thus transforming all parts of his cursed energy into his original body, or this is Yuji intentionally trying to simulate Sukuna's body, I do think Yuji is currently being turned into a similar form of Sukuna. Furthermore, I think this is the steps to allow Yuji to awaken Sukuna's curse technique. For this video, I have been referencing that there's a chance Yuji might end up awakening Sukuna's curse technique, so some of you guys might be confused. Currently, there are two camps of people, in my opinion, where the first camp of people is Yuji can awaken Sukuna's curse technique still because he has Sukuna's cursed energy, even though he doesn't have Sukuna's soul inside of him, which allows the cursed energy to engrave the technique onto his body. However, there's another camp of people that are saying the soul is required in order to do so as a result. I'm currently leaning closer towards that Sukuna's curse technique was already engraved on his body and Sukuna was holding it back, and now that Sukuna is no longer within Yuji, Yuji is able to use Sukuna's curse technique. I actually want to talk about Camp 2 for a minute, of the fact that Sukuna is no longer in Yuji, that Yuji has no way to access Sukuna's curse technique, even though I believe Yuji can access it because he has Sukuna's cursed energy. Because of something else Sukuna mentioned extremely early on, of the fact that one of his fingers are still missing. Now, there are two theories around where that finger is, which is A, Gojo had the finger, or B, Kenjaku used the finger in order to make Yuji Itadori. That's why Yuji and Sukuna look so similar. Either way, it doesn't matter which of these two theories are true, because I think the theories are going to end up in the same place and the same goal, where a small tiny fragment of Sukuna's soul is inside of Yuji Itadori, and that is how Yuji is becoming Sukuna. That is how Yuji is able to use Sukuna's technique and use Sukuna's body. Now, of course, there is a pretty good chance this isn't Yuji able to use Sukuna's curse technique, and this is just Yuji awakening whatever Kenjaku's true intention was for him as an experiment, but I also just don't think it is likely that is the case, because there is just way too many similarities between Yuji and Sukuna as people when it comes to how they look and the fact they are almost complete opposites. But I also do think Yuji is going to get Sukuna's curse technique either way, because I think it would be a good way to pay off one of Gojo's earlier lines that eventually Sukuna's curse technique would be engraved onto Yuji. Either way, though, I am pretty certain for a fact that Yuji is right now using a very similar tactic that Mahito used in order to manipulate his soul to give his soul a stronger shape and stronger body to allow his own physical body to follow through in order to make his body even stronger so he has a better chance against Sukuna. After all, with all of Yuji's focus around the soul, with his first main antagonist he ever had being Mahito, and their big thing being the soul, as well as him getting an entire soul book to study and having a pretty good template of what the soul can do through Mahito, I do think that this is a likely power-up that Yuji has gotten, that he is using the soul in order to transfigure his body physically and has gained access to that ability. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, okay, why can Yuji transfigure his own soul? Don't you need a curse technique to do that? Well, not really. In my opinion, I think everyone is able to change the shape of their own soul. It's just no one can change the shape of other people's soul other than Mahito, and Mahito uses his curse technique to do it and just have an easier time with his own soul, but also is able to do it with other people's souls. This is supported by the fact that basically every Heian era player has transfigured the body to look like their own soul, whether consciously or subconsciously, it doesn't really matter too much, I think that it is possible to do it consciously through people like Yorozu, who did it by changing her face to look like herself rather than Tsumaki, as well as Sukuna, who had done it to recreate his own body. Or at least that's how I think Sukuna had come back to normal, that he used the soul and changed the shape of his own soul in order to give himself a physical amp and return himself to his true ultimate Jujutsu era and true ultimate form of perfection as described by Kashimo. And if anyone would be able to change their soul with a month of training and a month of being able to read the entire soul book and soul research and being able to practice the techniques given in the soul book, it would be Yuji Itadori in my opinion. However, I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on this entire new arm that Yuji has gone. It could be entirely possible that we're just speculating too soon, considering the fact that this is literally only one panel, but I still wanted to make this video nonetheless. So, I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.